Held captive and tortured for more than 5 years as a POW in Vietnam, Lee Ellis has now become one of the best teachers on leadership in any given situation. Lee Ellis's Lead with Honor can help teach others how to effectively lead in a number of real-world situations. Ellis's experience with leadership throughout his life has given him access to information that few would ever interact with. Mainly, his time as a prisoner of war has given him insight into a leadership style that many people will fortunately never have to deal with. Has put all of his experience and wisdom on leadership into this incredibly insightful and helpful novel. The book gives a lot of detail on what Ellis went through as a POW in Vietnam and put those experiences into real-world lessons to help teach others how to effectively lead. His POW imprisonment is gone into on great detail. He noticed numerous instances of leaders taking action where normally they might not have had to if they weren't in such a situation. The senior officers, known as SROs, in the prisoner of war camps were still considered to be senior officers. They still gave orders. They still held true to the code of conduct of the military, and those that didn't were relieved of their commands. Being a leader in a prisoner of war camp meant inspiring and keeping your troops that were under you in great spirits, keeping them true to their code of conduct, keeping them from giving information to the leaders, as well as occupying the torture squads so that they would focus on the leaders instead of working down and focusing on the foot soldiers and those that are lower in rank. This feats of leadership really inspired Ellis. He knew that without them, surviving POW camps would have been much harder, if not completely impossible. Fortunately, this gives him real-world lessons and applications that he can teach others in less extreme situations, such as those where people are having problems managing a company or leading people in a company, period. Because as we all know, leading is not managing and vice versa. Leading is actually inspiring people to do what they need to do, not just telling them what to do and how to do it, but actually inspiring the people to do their best and guiding them more than just giving them a piece of paper or giving them instruction. The book teaches what it truly takes to be an effective leader and tells how it can be done. Leaders must adapt to effectively lead and sometimes must put aside natural tendencies. The book talks about drive in a very specific way. The drive to win, the drive to succeed. Sometimes, as a specific example on needing to adapt, sometimes people's drive almost is overdone. They try to drive, they're driven too much. They don't see that they need to slow down and to actually help others lead and manage what they're doing. It's a very hard thing to do as, somebody that always wants to do the best and always wants to do this and always wants to be done a certain way. Sometimes it can just burn people out. They have to give people time. They have to give people inspiration. They have to constructively criticize their employees and give them praise where they do very well. This adaptation of personal abilities to effectively lead is an extremely important part and is a very big point in this book. Leaders can't just always go about their natural tendencies. Many times they have to adapt to help others since they are in a position of leadership and not following. They don't have the luxury of just being told what to do and dealing with things. They're trying to inspire. They're trying to help others become what they need to become. A very important part of managing a company is leading your underlings, I guess, is what you could call them, to do what they need to do, but do it in a very effective way and do it to the best of their abilities. This book is very important. It does a very good job on explaining word for word how to effectively lead and how to adapt yourself to certain situations that might not be natural for you. How good is it? It's It's an excellent book. I really can't say anything less about it. Once again, he gets so much information off of the leaders in the POW camp, the senior ranking officers in the POW camps, what they went through personally, what they sacrificed to stay in command, to stay as an inspiration to to their troops actually, that were terrified just as they were. They kept their emotions locked up as long as they can. They put themselves in harm's way to keep the lower ranking officers and soldiers, to keep them out of harm's way as much as possible. I feel like this is a great way to show that this type of leadership is very important, to almost throw yourself into the fire to help those under you. He also takes these lessons that he learned as a POW and what he learned from the leaders and adapts them into real world situations. He gives many insightful little credits to seminars and to teaching classes that he's given in the real world to Fortune 500 companies and smaller companies as well. How he helped those managers and leaders effectively lead and manage their people so that the companies could be extremely productive and actually grow, even in times of hardship or extreme change. This is, of course, very important in many companies, especially in today's economic climate where change and hardship are almost guaranteed. Companies buy each other all the time. Companies sell. Companies downsize. Companies grow. Companies change plans. They do many things. He gives insight on what to do if something like this happens. If your company is going through a major change, he gives examples on what was told to do in companies that he's actually tried to help out and do such things. I feel like this is very awesome because I feel as if he's kind of giving not only extreme personal views from his time as a POW, but he's also honestly trying to help show what it takes to effectively lead other people through any kind of challenge. Lee Ellis's book is awesome for teaching somebody how to lead or developing them as a leader. Somebody might already be a leader, but this book I feel can effectively help them grow as a leader, which I think is very important. Leaders should always be willing to grow and adapt and overcome to anything. The book goes from his POW stories to more real world scenarios, which he helped managers and leaders, like I said, come through situations and hardships and the like to grow as companies, grow as leaders, and grow as managers. If someone is looking for an interesting book that is also very informative and helpful on the topic of leadership, Lee Ellis's Lead with Honor should be the first that comes to mind. I feel that this book not only is interesting enough with the historical accounts of his time as a POW, but it rolls that over so well into being an effective leader and how he uses what he learned to teach others. He doesn't just give stories and then tell. He rolls one thing over to the other and effectively utilizes both his experiences to show the reader what to do and how to do it. Thank you very much. That was Lee Ellis's Lead with Honor.